Hello and welcome to the Observe Conversations channel. I am VR Sampath, retired IPS, aka Sampath Ramanujan MFA. For more details, click the link below. Please subscribe and click the bell icon. Thank you. Let's get into the topic for the day. Today we are going to talk about a bunch of things: fear, love and trust, and unburdening. What is the ruling emotion or feeling in human life? Apart from survival, sex, hunger, thirst, and lust, it's fear, whether obvious or underlying. There are different categories of fear. The foremost and deeply buried in our unconscious is the fear of death. This is the driver of other fears such as fear of the unknown, fear of losing, fear of being cheated, of being taken for granted, of what others will think of us. The lesser fears are like stage fear, gender fear, fear of mice, or even cockroach. Let me explain. Generally, women are brave in certain matters, but many of them are afraid of insects, cockroaches, lizards, and more. This may come out of genuine fear for life or a sense of aversion. And this aversion or fear may be acquired or come to you naturally. Your vasana from previous birth, if there was one. Your stage fear comes from going wrong in your expressions or being ridiculed for being absurd, or simply your inability to articulate. I had to work on my fear of camera to overcome and be openly absurd in my monologues here in this channel. Gender fear comes especially for boys and girls from fear of rejection, the fear of taking a call, decision making, fear of taking responsibility, especially when things might go wrong. I have seen women in high status depend on men to take the final call on most matters. On the other hand, when things go right, the very same people don't hesitate to take credit. I told you so. There may be exceptions, but the rule appears to be this. Next, fear of death and fear of the unknown are intertwined. It's primarily the unknown which lies beyond death that terrifies us. We just don't know. If we knew for certain that God and heaven are waiting for us, for sure, after death, we wouldn't fear it. We would welcome it. We would look forward to it. But alas, we don't know. So, the known devil, that is this life, is more desirable than the unknown heaven for this reason. People who bravely talk about fearlessness about death are either young or who think death is far away. Even when people around you die young, it fails to shake your false belief that you won't die that way. My vitals are in control. That's what we think. This is the power of life or Maya. For a man who is terminally ill, this screen of Maya gets torn apart. He knows he is going to die, and that is something to deal with. Fear of being cheated or taken for granted or taken for a ride is a powerful fear. This fear makes people do evil things beforehand and say, "What did you think? You can cheat me? Not a chance." Many fights, violence, and bloodshed are caused by this fear. Similarly, the fear of losing make people do many things which result in greater loss. Fear of losing one's so-called reputation. People give up on their lives in the name of honor, reputation, and good impressions. What will others think if they see me like this, see me doing this, talking like this? If the necessity of doing those things which are dishonorable is very much there, then you do it on the sly. Lying, hiding, and denying are other modes. The habits of drug, alcohol, and reckless spending make one shameless and honorless. In addition to spoiling your health, they damage your sense of honor without you knowing it. The sense of honor comes from culture. Different cultures have different ideas of honor. In one culture, you go in shorts, and in another, cover your body from head to toe. Lie, deception, false sense of honor. The world today, by and large, is going through this phase of life in every walk of life. God and faith have a common origin, fear. J. Krishnamurti says, constant assertion of belief is an indication of fear. Next, we'll talk about love and trust. Love and trust are not given, they are built. People expect you to trust them first. They give all sorts of stories how trustworthy they are. What they don't see is, because they think about themselves as trustworthy, it doesn't mean the other person should trust you. Mostly, they want 100% of trust to be given in advance. It starts coming down with every act of betrayal of trust. 90, 75, 60, 40, or 20%. When it reaches zero, they vanish. Similarly for love, it grows with time, not the other way about. Now, coming to how to unburden. The above described conditions, if unattended, lead to burden on your unconscious. There are certain other conditions which become burdens. Excessive money and fame, for instance. A big-breasted woman looks attractive, especially for a male, but it's a burden on that woman. Many such women have expressed their discomfiture rising from carrying around such a so-called asset. Literally, that's a burden, though it looks great for the world. Similar or money and fame, much sought after things in the world. Some people carry these two burdens like a big-breasted woman. Money beyond a limit becomes a curse, a responsibility. That excess money demands investment, protection, multiplication, and proper care 24/7, 365. Similarly, fame. First you seek it. Do everything possible to be known. After a stage, fame seeks you. It chases you. So much so, you wail for privacy, like actors do. They want fame as much as they want and no more. And only when they want and not when the paparazzi wants it. At some stage, fame turns a burden. They cannot get rid of it and they cannot accept it anymore. But there is no way out. When you are dead, money leaves but not fame. It reaches up to the funeral pyre and more. People watch the ugly face of death when it is kept for public view. Other famous people reach with garlands in their hands and wearing white kurtas, keeping in mind their upcoming releases or elections, to appear as a concerned and humane human. Then the procession and finally into the fire. If it's a famous politician, then truckloads of hired people fill the streets, waving goodbye to the departed leader. Some people who are paid more manage to wail and beat their chests. Again, a crime is a burden. You may evade law and roam free. You may appear brave and carefree, but the burden cannot be wished away. In brief, a burden on your conscience and unconscious essentially robs you of your freedom. Freedom that is opposite of burden. It is essential to die a free human, not a wealthy or famous human, or die from disease, because that's a burden too. Freedom is the most achievable thing for a human. Real life takes off from the runway of freedom, not from the pit of fear, fame, and money. It means you should work your way out from the pit of these three before you could think of flying, and that too before you die, and not carry the burden into the next life if there is one. Thank you.